I just watched the video of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu of Israel speaking before the U.S. Congress. I thought I'd give you my hot take on the issue. Marissa Semke will have a more extended monologue on the subject tonight. The first thing that struck me was how obsequiously generous and friendly Netanyahu was towards President Obama and the Democrats for the first few minutes of the speech. It went on so long how grateful Netanyahu was to Obama, how praising he was of Obama's alliance with Israel. It felt so political and partisan, which it was, because for weeks Obama and the White House have been whining that Netanyahu was coming to give a speech. In fact, Obama himself boycotted the speech. He refused to attend, and when he was asked if he would even watch it, he said no, he was busy with meetings. It was like you had a petulant child, and that's why Netanyahu had to be so generous to neutralize that and to be the bigger man and to get that out of the way so he could talk about why he came. He did not come to talk about his own re-election in Israel or about Republicans or Democrats in America. He came to talk about what he thought was an existential threat against Israel and indeed the whole world. He started by referring to the Jewish story of Purim, of how a Persian, that is Iranian tyrant, threatened to wipe out all the Jews. That Jewish holiday starts tomorrow. Very symbolic that, again, another Persian tyrant would threaten to wipe out all the world's people, all the Jewish people. But Netanyahu reminded the Congress before him that just like the German Nazis before them, the Iranian fascists aren't just a threat to Jews, they're a threat to the whole world. He pointed out that Iran already basically runs colonies in Syria, Lebanon, Yemen, and increasingly in Iraq itself. And what starts with the Jews never ends there, just like in the Second World War. And of course, Iran is building rockets. Netanyahu did a great job, I thought, of pointing out the technical ways in which Iran is getting stronger and closer to that breakout sprint to build bombs. He said that the US estimate is that it's a year away and that Israeli estimates are that it'll shorter. He went on to deal, I think, most effectively with Obama's negotiation strategy, which is obvious: any deal on any cost. Not even Chamberlain's attempt to deal with Hitler in Munich was such a total giveaway. I think that by describing Obama's negotiating tactics as pitifully weak, I think just calling them out specifically that way undermined Obama, and you can see so much why Obama didn't want Netanyahu there. But Netanyahu actually offered an alternative, which is negotiate a better deal. It's not this deal or war, it's negotiate a better deal, and reminded Americans in the world that Iran does not have a lot of choices, especially with low oil prices and sanctions on it. I thought the most interesting line of Netanyahu's speech was when he said, Iran doesn't even have to break this deal to get nukes. They can follow this deal and still get their nukes. It's as if Obama is endorsing and protecting the Iranian nuclear program. And I think when Netanyahu rose to this crescendo, he made such a compelling case. There were very few hyper-partisan Democrats that weren't clapping along. Well, Netanyahu started talking about Purim and the Jews, and he talked about the Holocaust as well. But he said that for the first time in 100 generations, the Jews can fight back. And this was chilling and terrifying, but also inspiring. He said that if Israel stands alone, it will still stand. And he said, thank God it doesn't have to stand alone because Americans stand with it. More a hope than a statement of certainty. I think the effect of Netanyahu's visit was exactly what he intended and exactly what Obama feared and tried so hard to scupper. Number one, it cleared away any illusions about the nature of Iran, its threat to the region and the world, and its intentions to get nuclear weapons. Number two, it showed that Obama does not know how to negotiate. We already know that from how it allowed Russia to devour Ukraine, and Netanyahu was simply calling out Obama on that with Iran. And finally, I think, in a terrifying way, but in an inspiring way too, Netanyahu said that if it comes down to it, Israel will stand alone to protect the Jewish people. Now, the standing ovation by almost everyone in the Congress suggests that perhaps America is with Israel, or at least the Congress. But at the end of the day, the Congress does not engage in foreign treaties or is not the commander-in-chief. That's Barack Obama, a petulant child who stomped out of the room, refused to watch it on TV, refused to meet with with Netanyahu. Obama will meet with anyone. Just a couple of weeks ago, he met with the tyrant dictator of Qatar, the chief funder of the Islamic State. He met with a woman named Glozell, who sits in a bathtub full of Fruit Loops. So there is no one with whom Obama won't meet. His favorite meeting is with himself and his selfie stick, but he would not meet with America's key ally in the region. These are dangerous days. I'm very glad Netanyahu made his visit to Washington. I don't know what's next, but I hope that if Israel takes its own survival into its own hands, it succeeds, not just for Israel's sake, but for the world. That's my hot take. I'm Ezra Levant for TheRebel.media.